Hope everyone had a great weekend. It's been a bit, but felt like everyone possibly needed a little bit of a break before getting to this dinner party. So, recapping a little bit of last session, you guys had finished up in the town that you guys had been in. All my notes are open for the other group, so hold on. Okay, so you guys had finished up in Zoltenia Krasa, deciding to hoof it your way northward to Solbrunn. Finishing your last little bits inside the town, you guys started out on your journey northward. Deciding to go up to the capital of District 8 and then veering off from there. During your travels, you came upon a girl, mid-teens, late teens, somewhere around there, whose cart had been destroyed, her horse was expired, and seemingly casks of ale of some sort smashed and empty on the ground. You guys offered to help in multiple different ways, but eventually she, a bit proud, refused all the offerings and decided to rest at the location to dig up the rock that had caused all this destruction to her life, allowing you guys to continue onward. As you guys finally did get to the capital city of District 8, Cahill, you guys spent the night, and in the morning were greeted with the sight of the same girl, now dressed a little bit more properly, with a new cart and horses, and dictating to a few workers in a very managerial sense. And Racha, being the sociable bird that he is, went over, reached out, and found out that underneath the rock was a note left by the commander himself to the first person who would dig up said rock and not only relieve themselves of this burden, but also any other future travelers along this way, giving her a nice purse of coin in return, in which she immediately made it to the capital city, bought some new items, restocking and overloading, and getting ready to head back to her hometown. Taking this bit of good news onward with you, you guys started to travel to Solbrunn. Hitting some inclement weather along the way, slowing you guys down a few days, but eventually coming to the outskirts of the city, lakeside, and coming around to the southern side of this entrance. Before you did, though, you noticed from a far distance off explosions and fire, seemingly wrecking the entire south portion of the city, outside the walls of the city itself. With this, seemingly with no warning, at least from Polly's contacts on the inside when he messaged earlier that morning. No warning of any attack or anything negatively happening, so seeing that this must be decently new, Nori decided to druid her way out, become a bird, and start to scout. As she got close to what she was at first initializing a battlefield of some sort, she ended up taking an arrow, forcing her out of wild shape form. Luckily, she was able to change back, dive down and away from danger. This, unfortunately, no, it was the second time you got hit that you dropped concentration.
Well, so I wild shaped up, got hit, wild shaped back down, talked for a trial, went back up, and then I got shot, and then I was forced to polymorph myself so I didn't fall to my death.
Correct. And it was on the second time that after you'd gone up as a bird the second time, at a much further distance, but yet still within range of new armaments that these people have, you took a hit, unwild shaped the horses that you had summoned prior, the concentration lost upon them, warning the rest of the group that, oh shit, something went down. And everyone started to move towards the town, with Rachab being at the front, trying as best as he could to get there as fast as he can. You polymorphing into a bird and realizing that there is now an eagle in hot pursuit of you. So, with you dive bombing your way down to the ground, not too far off from the party, with this eagle right behind, you, just a few feet off the ground, sort of let up to slow your descent and then let go of the polymorph. No, you stayed, but the eagle still impacted you, taking you to the ground, that popping you out of your polymorph. And as you ass over tea kettled across the floor a little bit, an orcish druid woman stood there, and as Polly rushed with the rest of the group forward to call off Mazoga before she laid down the hurt, everything was calmed down. Polly able to tell Mazoga that these were friends and that everything's cool. Nori apologizing and trying to de-escalate the situation as well. Mazoga apologizing in herself that her son is a bit of a hotshot. And take that as many different ways as you want to. But overall, the explosions had stopped, the fires had been quelled, and you guys realized that this was a training seminar of some sort, as you guys were proceeded with Mazoga, moved into the walls of the southern end of Solbrun. Here you notice that amongst the different humans, dwarves, gnomes, and half-elves that live here, there are also Duragar spotted around. Few crates and carts full of alchemical fire. And Hawkus Hammerhand himself upon Bill. And with the greeting, handed over the reins back to you, Polly, for Bill to go back to his rightful owner, as Bill was drinking him out of house and home. With this, Polly, you welcomed Hawkus. Hawkus told you that he would be there for the dinner that you all were supposed to be attending shortly, as he had to go make sure that these people didn't kill themselves with his product, and that he was going to go meet your father soon, and then the rest of them will go meet you at the dinner when they're ready. So after putting Bill away and showing the rest of your group over to your humble abode, you were greeted by Annabelle, your mother, who... It's weird, because Polly would have probably come up to her and semi-flinched, waiting for that punch, as is a Schlemazel tradition of welcoming one another. But she didn't this time, as she was a bit busy and preoccupied. Sort of coldly welcoming you all as she's dealing with the preparations for the dinner, and allowing you all to go into the house to, after cleaning up of course, go into the house for a quick tour by Polly. As you guys moved back out of the house, she more openly greeted herself, apologizing for her demeanor prior. And as you guys were towards the tail ends of the introductions, a rabblelous, rowdy crowd of 3 Dwarven and Duragar made their way down the streets as Hawkus, Vernon, and Laverne all drunkenly made their way from the northern road down to the Schlemazel house, got through the gates, sort of rosy-cheeked smile waved to everybody, and was directed by Annabelle to go clean up, in which they decided, or maybe not decided is the right word, by accident or by design, thoroughly trashed the cleaning area, sending water, suds, and such in all different directions. Luckily, this is pre-thought of by Annabelle, so this entire place is slightly tilted away from the garden party. But by the time that they're done, they seem to have sobered up a bit, and everyone is greeted as Annabelle gestures to the tables and tells everyone to take a seat. So, as you all go to start taking your seats, different servers and waiters are starting to place plates, cutlery, and things in different ways. The tables themselves. Oh, I forgot. Richard does have an entire thing of shrimp cocktail in his hands. But along the tables, there seems to be different sort of appetizers, gravy boats, and different things already pre-set up on the table. A pig is currently roasted over a spit and continually being turned and warmed, as well as those that do eat turkey know the smell, but it seems that the turkey isn't on full display and has already been cut up into just strips and is being served in such a way. It doesn't seem to be as elegant as everything else is, so it seems almost as if Annabelle probably saw your guys' group and then was like, oh shit, there's a bird. You probably shouldn't serve bird just openly roasted like this pig. Go inside and cut that shit up. So it's very haphazardly cut up, but at least the extra step was taken to hopefully spare any extra PTSD.
Yeah, Rachel recognizes the meat regardless of the shape. He would appreciate it and actively avoid it still.
Luckily, it's placed on the other table and not yours. And Annabelle would make the suggestion that anybody who would like anything from either table, you can feel free to go and get some. But she sits down. She takes her seat. Hawkus sort of bullies and pushes his way over towards Bryn and Nori, sort of setting the hammer down, but under his foot, putting one foot on top of one of the back heads of the hammer. This seems to be enough to keep it down, but he's putting it in between you and himself, Bryn. Laverne, very curiously and interested, but mischievous smile upon her face, takes her seat in between Polly and Racha, thinking that this is probably the best place that she wants to be. And then Vernon makes his way over to his seat next to Annabelle. There's still a bit of commotion as waiters are moving around, napkins are being placed down. They're asking if people want anything of cuts of the pig or anything else that they might have prepared. There is a small table off to the side with different sides and appetizers that aren't already on the tables. So as people kind of go around and give their order out, they go and prepare the plate and bring it back. It's during this time, though, that you guys can't help but notice extra chairs. And as Annabelle is currently focused a little bit more on the waiters and their job and how they're doing, and making sure that everyone's semi-comfortable, Vernon kind of like looks at her, then looks to the other side of her, like he's about to lean over and ask her, when she kind of just like, not even looking, can just feel the heat and the breath that he exudes, and just kind of puts up her hand about 3 inches in front of his face and goes, "They're not the only company." And he kind of just nods and turns back to his plate, which now has a nice hefty turkey leg that he's starting to rip into. Before Vernon does so, he does the quickest of prayers. And Annabelle just gestures for everyone to start eating. She's going to be the last to eat, as she also has a keen eye on the street. So basically, Nori, where you're sitting, off to the side there is, off in that direction, is the gate to the street. The hedgerows block a lot, but you can still hear noise, and you can hear people walking and moving about over there. It's not deafening or distracting. It's just like slight ambient noise going on. The only real easily place that you can see is about 5 feet on either side of the gate itself and the gate. So it's kind of weird because she like keeps looking over at you, Nori, but then you realize she's looking at the gate past you, so you're like, okay, I'm not in trouble. All right.
And Nori's like really self-conscious for a second, like, did I do something wrong?
Why does she keep
there's
staring
the
at
gate.
me? Does she know and starts holding your neck?
I feel like Nori has just like a cloak on, because like I feel like she only wears higher collared stuff now. That'll be a weird tan line, but it's just like, I'd rather not have that thing show.
Definitely going through the vampire emo phase. Got it.
Still wearing green.
Garbs are your best friend.
Or the Naruto Akatsuki robes, where they go up to like the nose. All right. So, as Laverne starts to dig in, Hawkus kind of nudging Bryn to start eating, as he's already decently far into his appetizers. And Bryn, though you've been raised in semi, as far as mannerisms go when it comes to eating, Valkyrie aren't too far off from Dwarvish. It's very much okay, if you sit down to the table, it's time to fucking eat. There is not many elegant fancy parties that Valkyrie are hosting or going to. But you still kind of reserve the awkwardness, especially with Nori, who's surrounded by meat. And it's just like, probably has asked the waiter at least once or twice, what vegetables do you guys have? Is there... what do we got on the green scale of things? We got green tripe. And you're like, not quite what I was going for, but... luckily, Annabelle's looking in this direction, kind of snaps a waiter over, and brings you over probably the majority of the vegetables that are here. Again, wasn't prefaced with a vegetarian, so kind of trying to make do. Luckily, mostly...
Nori's not complaining. It's fine.
Mostly everyone else here is heavy meat eaters, so you kind of just get like everyone's vegetables pushed into a plate. So it's like the weirdest garden salad ever, as it's just like 10 potatoes, shit ton of lettuce, like just it was supposed to be a little bit for everybody, but has now just become everything for you. But she's trying to make do. She's trying to play host as best she can, until eventually she hasn't been really engaging in any conversation. The person who's been talking the most has been Laverne, actually, just talking at Richa. Richa trying to probably get in a word edgewise, and she just barrels right over you. because you have to kind of like think about how you want to respond to make it correct so they could possibly understand. And then you're starting to realize she's not interested in you responding. She just is looking for someone to talk at. And she knows Polly is probably just going to shut her up like the moment she turns to him. And so she's just talking at you and constantly like just fucking with Polly with her hand. Like just jabbing him in the side, flicking his fork as he's about to put it in his mouth. Just constant sibling crap is going on with one hand while she's eating with her left and talking at you. But Annabelle does perk up at one point, and she goes, "Oh, finally!" And kind of very nicely, comparatively to everyone else at the tables, seems to effortlessly scoot her chair back, turn sideways, fold her napkin just right, place it under the plate very quick, all in swift motions, gets up perfectly, and like moves very top-centric. Walk, 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 walk. And then goes to the gate and says, "So wonderful of you to make it." And as you guys kind of all followed Annabelle's eyes as it traveled over, you now see what is a decently tall woman. Just a long mess of red hair. Not skinny tall, but like very broad tall. "Oh, that's fine, Annabelle. I'm glad you can have me here. Oh, we have a full table tonight." And Annabelle goes, "Yes, I've actually got my son's friends along with us. I hope that's quite all right." "No, not at all. Hello all, I'm Fiona." And she kind of walks through, ducking beneath the overture of the garden gate, and you see this woman. Her dress is immaculate. Like, it is a one-of-a-kind piece of red, like the upper portion is these maroon and red straps, and it connects to a maroon bodice that is almost corset? Yes. For some reason, corset and corsage were like fucked up in my head for a moment. Like, those are two very different things. But it's very tight around her midsection, and then kind of like old 1500s has a bit of a boost to the bustier of the booty area of that little. So it kind of
A bustle.
Boost, bustle, bitchin', all the things, all the bees. I am not a purveyor of female garments, so I will take your...
What the heck, Val?
I
Why
can
didn't
only-
you do all of your research
I can
on this?
only do so much, okay?
Yeah, you're
I made it look good, that's all that matters.
It's okay. I had to find a wedding dress for mine, and I literally just read off the description from the website of what the wedding dress is.
Everybody else thought he did wonderful, and I'm like, he's a fake.
How do you know all those terms? Well, you know.
it's the tireless work of a DM. You just look. The thesaurus is your best friend.
Unfortunately, I just all work off the inner mind. But it has that bit of a boost to the booty. But the fabric that seems to be used seems to be some sort of silk lace hybrid, where the silk is these interesting, very intricate black lacing, black silk, and the lace is red. Sorry. Words, head, brain, mouth. Not in that order. But it looks immaculate. It looks probably tailor-made and pretty brand new. She greets everyone, waving, and Annabelle gives a very quick rundown of names, pointing out, seemingly she already knows who Laverne, Vernon, and Hawkes are, so it's more of pointing to the rest of you guys and saying appropriate names. Getting to you, Richa, and she kind of goes, "Richie?
Richa.
Richard, sorry. If you ask him, it's a bit different than what they tell me, so... And she kind of gives everyone, at the end of all the introductions, a bit of a curtsy. And then Annabelle drags Fiona over to sit next to her. With this, after everything's said and done, Annabelle now seems much more engaged, especially talking with Fiona. And Vernon, now understanding who the empty seat was for, it's gone back to just that tipsy eating situation, where they seem hyper focused on whatever they're doing, especially when it comes to food, where they just become like, oh shit, this is the best thing in the world. And so he has gone into that zone and is just constantly inputting food into mouth, and waiters are bringing new plate after new plate. But Fiona, as she's getting her order taken by the waiter, she just points over to the pig, which has been carved and cut in different places, and she says shank. And the waiter kind of just looks at her and goes, the whole thing? And she kind of just gestures to herself, like, I'm gonna need sustenance to keep up my appearance. And he kind of stares and nods and turns around, and Racha, you're able to see this guy's eyes just super wide, oh fuck. As he goes over to the pig, tells the guy who's carving the pig, and the guy kind of looks at him, and then looks over to Fiona, and Fiona kind of just gives him a little, and he's like, all right. And you just see him take this big old cleaver blade, and just start chopping at the spine, taking off an entire leg shank from hoof to spine, this entire piece. And just the waiter has this tiny little plate and the guy kind of just looks at the plate, shakes his head, and just throws the shank into the dude's arm. And the guy kind of catches it, fuck am I supposed to do with this? And you can literally see the conversation happening as the guy who cut it up is just I don't know, figure it out. And the waiter kind of turns around holding this, and he's not that tall of a dude. He looks like he's probably 16. This is some sort of part-time job for him. And he's 5'5", and this leg shank reaches about half of his height. So it's a good 2.5, almost 3 feet long. And probably weighs a good 20, 30 pounds. So he's just hugging it like it's his lost blankie or something. And he's just looking at the table, and he's mentally gymnasticking, trying to figure out what the fuck is he gonna do. And Fiona leans over to Annabelle and goes, I sure do love it when they don't know. And Annabelle kind of smiles and nods. And Fiona pulls out from... So where the corset meets the bottom lace, it actually separates, and she pulls out what looks to be this long metal rod. And she kind of finger gestures the waiter over, who's shock walking towards her, until he gets about 4 feet away. She stops him. She just jams this stake into the ground. Kind of gestures give me the meat. And he kind of body holds it over like a baby, passing a baby over. And she kind of just grabs it and just impales it on this spike. And you just see the waiter just oh fuck. And she pulls out her own knife set, which seems to be much more sturdier, almost like chef knife. As she starts to shave off different cuts of meat from this shank and puts it on her plate. The waiter just standing there dumbfounded of everything going on. After she shaves off a good 4 slices, she kind of stops and looks at him and goes, you should probably go clean up now, son. As he's got blood just all over him. And he's and doesn't even say thank you or yes or anything, doesn't bow, nothing, just completely flabbergasted, turns around, almost walking into the fire, and then veering off to around the side of the house.
I will lean over to Laverne and smack her in the back of the head, just shut her up for a second, and kind of gesture towards this woman.
She doesn't say ow or anything. She kind of just takes it, looks over at you with a menacing smile, like, "Oh, we throwing down?" And then you gesture over, and she's like, "What about her?"
Who is she?
One of Mom's friends, business partner.
Very helpful. Very helpful. A little more information, please. I know you've got a brain in there somewhere.
It's bigger than yours, so shut up.
So try using it.
Something with clothes. I don't know. Maybe she owns a clothing shop or is a supplier. I don't know. Business partner with Mom. I only met her like twice.
Oh, I know who this person is.
Yes,
Don't
you
I?
do.
Oh, shit. After I realize that, I'm going to sit down and be real quiet. Kind of shrink into myself a little bit.
Okay.
Has Polly ever told us that story? No, I'm so sad.
Any conversations anyone likes to have as dinner going on?
Warren's just kind of been like side checking the dress. It's like, I need something on that caliber. He's just thinking to himself. He's like, I just need to look that gaudy. It's like just so
Extra.
extra. It's like it's calling out to him, and he's kind of like he's claps like a little bit at like the show that's been put on. Just kinda like, as he's watching, watching from across the table, Bryn's expression and maybe her discomfort, and laughing every now and again.
I mean, there's an extra seat behind me.
And Bryn is funny because every now and then Hawkins kind of like lets his foot up off the hammer. And,
Of course he would.
well, you know, it gets tiring having to hold something down the entire time. So he just like adjusts his foot every now and again. And you can tell because when his foot's on it, the handle of the hammer is kind of like resting up against his leg. But every time he goes to shift, the handle kind of just like snaps over and almost like impacts your knee before he like puts his foot back on it, and it kind of slowly goes back.
I feel like Bryn's just gonna sit there with her hand like ready to fucking try to catch this thing before it smashes her knee apart.
Nori has not
mousetrap
relaxed at all.
Yeah, there'd probably be one point, maybe about 20 or 30 minutes in, where it ends up whacking the middle of your hand as you let it go for just a little too long. He kind of like just looks over at you as the impact, and you're probably just like looking at your red hand as there's like an indentation of the different leather wraps from the handle across the middle of your hand now. You're not owing or anything. You're just kind of like looking at it like, you son of a bitch. And he kind of just gives you a smirk smile from the side.
She's not gonna say anything, but she'll just kind of shake her head at it and make sure it's back and under his foot.
Nori just quietly to Bryn, I am so sorry.
I guess you would be able to hear this like hit, wouldn't she? Okay. Bryn's gonna pretend nothing happened. At least for Nori, like when Nori says that.
The impact is so loud it sounds like someone snapping a ruler.
Yeah, we're just gonna pretend it didn't happen. I don't know what you're talking about, Nori.
It's probably also along with it, like Bryn, like fork in the air with food on top of it. Smack! The fucking fork doing a little bit of a somersault.
Like, drop the fork and just grin and bear it.
Can I hear it at our table too?
Oh yeah.
Nori just like hunkers down a little bit more over her food, just like, this is a lot.
I'll cast Healing Word at Bryn.
The indents start to relieve themselves quicker.
And then I will smack my sister in the back of her head again and lean in. Leave him alone. Let him eat. Shut your face with some food. You'll have plenty of time.
I am. He's eating. I'm not stopping him from eating.
Just stop talking at him. Jesus. All you do is talk. And nothing really say. You never say anything.
What are you talking about? I've already told him the secret to happiness, which beers to drink, which places to stay away from, what time of day it is. I'm a very informative person.
Rachara just starts repeating back what she said about every single one of those things every time she brings it up in the list.
And he listens. More than I could say for you. Pokes you in the side.
Whatever. I've heard it all before anyway.
Yeah, you needed to hear it a few times before you finally got it. And then she turns back to you. So anyway. And just...
How sturdy are these chairs?
They were brought in to handle Hawkus and Vernon, so it's pretty sturdy.
Never mind then.
Had a vision.
Are they? They're not ours then.
No.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, these are from the decoy.
Would Racha understand Polly and Laverne's interactions as sibling related, or is this like dining table etiquette in his mind?
I'm trying to quickly go through what Racha has encountered through his little life.
Yeah, in terms of dwarven etiquette, like the wedding, that's about it.
I mean, as far as you've really... To be fair, as far as it goes for Racha, the only real dinners that he's been to have been Durgar and Dwarven. And obviously Kinku. So, as far as you know, now in two different scenarios, this is how people act. This is dinner etiquette. And some of the people here are dressed fancily, so this is even fancy dinner etiquette.
I should have worn my tuxedo.
But yeah, so as far as you know, this is completely on par.
Noted.
So it's a little bit in. Annabelle allowing Fiona to get some eating in before they start to talk up a little bit more. Fiona, the shank that's next to her, about 3/4 taken care of. She kind of leans back and undoes the top laces of her corset. So you said these are all your son's friends? And Annabelle goes, yes, Polly. And she kind of gestures over the table towards you, Polly. Polly's my son, and these are his adventuring troupe that he's currently cohorting with.
Nice to meet you.
Fiona, kind of dabbing the sides of her mouth, go to, nice to meet you again. Oh,
Yeah,
you've...
It's good to see you.
Oh, you've met him before. Let's just say I've gotten to know Polly a lot very quickly. Annabelle kind of questioningly looks at her and then turns to look at you, Polly. Then looks back at Fiona, who has sort of big smirk across her face. And then Annabelle kind of like gets a worried look on her face and turns and looks at you, Polly, and she goes, "What did you do?"
Cha looks over and goes, "People having sex back in the day?"
Fiona busts out laughing. Laverne almost chokes on her food. He's like, "Ugh!" Vernon kind of peeks up at this and goes, "Party?" And Annabelle is just concerned and worried across her face.
Yeah, Polly's got his head in his hands and he's beet red.
Fiona reaches out and puts a hand on Annabelle's shoulder. "No, nothing like that, but let's just say he got a little well, I'm not sure exactly what you did that night, but by the time that he woke up, he was nude inside the back of one of my storehouses. He had a fashion show, it seemed. He looks wonderful in coral blue." Annabelle, a little bit more relaxed after that, but now understanding, like, oh my god. She kind of just slowly turns. Now Laverne is giggling.
He'll
And
punch her in the face.
she'll take it. Now she'll rage giggle.
No, she won't.
You gotta punch her in the face and, like, accidentally put your thumb in your fist when you punch, so you end up, like, almost dislocating your thumb as you hit. And you just, son of a... And then, oh, that makes her roar laughter even more. Annabelle kind of... feeling like karma served itself a little bit with that situation, kind of now turns back to Fiona. He didn't cause much in the way of destruction, did he? No, it took a bit of cleaning up. Only destroyed a few dresses that were works in progress. So luckily did not have any buyers just yet, and I was more or less playing around with a few ideas. Actually, something that he did gave me an idea for something else. So, it ended up working out. Annabelle, kind of curious, goes, What kind of thing did you think?" She kind of whispers, and you see, like, Annabelle's eyes kind of, like, open wide, and goes, "Oh, interesting. Well, I'm glad his fuck-up wasn't that much of a fuck-up then. So, Polly, would you like to tell us what had put you in such a state? I don't think I've heard this story. Laverne, yeah, I don't think I've heard it either.
Yeah, it's hard to hear things when you're not conscious. But it's not really a story for the dinner table.
Vernon. Everything can be a story for the dinner table with enough ale.
And you don't own enough.
Luckily, we're going through the decoy tonight, so we have it all on tap.
When you're like, "Can I get another mimosa?"
This one with grapefruit.
Ooh. As Capone's like just watching intently in this, like, he's gone ahead and turned his seat around just so he can watch it better. And he just, as he folds his leg and just starts sipping on his mimosa again, it's like, just make, if it runs out, just bring me another one, okay?
Lauren, do you wanna switch with me so you have a better seat?
You know, I already heard what happened to you. I'm okay.
Well,
Thank you, though.
You're facing that way, and I'm already facing that way, so maybe you would want to sit here.
Emmerich will reach over and clap Kaporin on the back and go, "Come on, where's your sense of adventure? Nothing like living a little on the edge."
I'll actually put my napkin down on my plate and say, Kaporin, you can switch with me. And I'll get up and I'll walk out the gate.
Oh, I'm just leaving.
Annabelle turns to Fiona. I'm terribly sorry. He gets he gets emotional.
Racha would try and substitute dummy, sneak his way out after Polly.
Go ahead and roll stealth. I gotta roll for a lot of people's perception checks. That makes sense.
No, you don't.
There's something in the food.
For the first time ever, Emmerich sees Racha.
So this is what it looks like.
Yeah, Racha just sort of like gets up, scrapes the chair back out of the table, and like stands up, starts like zhuzhing up a little bit of a pillow in the space, and everybody's just watching him. He just walks out.
Only person who doesn't realize is Vernon. There's even one point where Fiona, with her long arms, kind of reaches across the table and like assists you, like holds it, so you can like zhuzh it up a little bit more.
Thank you. Can't see me. Just walks away.
Just like, oh, and walks.
Yeah, does like the little head fake. Then just like walks away.
And Polly is
Imagining like trying to do a smoke bomb and then it doesn't work, and just running away.
And then Polly, as you're
What
walking
does
away, you
Hawkins
hear.
do?
Yeah, I'll just trot up along next to him and just be like, "What happened?"
I'll pull up my pipe and light it and just walk like half a block and just prop myself up against the wall. Nothing, it's a lot. It's a lot, and I always tend to get the brunt of all of it, so I can't.
Quite. Family. A lot.
They are, especially mine. I don't know. Anyway, you should go back. I'm sure there's more shrimp cocktail somewhere inside.
Yeah, I'm okay. Friends. And just pats him on the shoulder.
Thanks, Racha.
You gonna share?
I mean, sure, if you want some, and I'll hand over the pipe.
I feel like I can't actually inhale
You
a
don't,
pipe,
yeah, you
but he'll like sniff
you don't
at
have
it.
lips, so
Exactly. He'll like sniff at it like it smells nice and then give it back.
Racha just over there huffing it.
I mean, I've got some Criollo beans in my bag if you want to try these instead. And I'll pop a few out.
He'll like hold it up and be like, "Oh, what is it?"
I guess it's kind of our world's closest thing to coffee.
Starbucks?
Yeah, that.
He'll sort of like look at it wide-eyed a little bit and just be like, "Do I really want to do it right now?"
I'm gonna have them whenever you want one.
this amounts to cocaine for Racha.
Is it?
I don't know. On Starbucks, I was able to double my speed.
Yeah, with Racha and caffeine, it's basically like cocaine for anybody else.
Watch me run a football field in 6 seconds.
I hereby accept the
Collingberg.
challenge to play Racha on cocaine.
Oh, the day that Richard actually finds cocaine is gonna be hilarious.
Just vibrates and is untouchable.
It's like Fry in
No.
Futurama.
He would literally just collect it and then do experiments on it and fuck something up, but not himself.
Until it explodes and he accidentally inhales like half of it.
And then I become the Flash because I'm a metahuman now. It infused with me.
Oh no, I'd
Yeah,
have you roll a con saving throw, and if you failed it, you died.
He goes to
Bird
throw
goes
his
to hell.
powder. He goes to throw the powder on the ground to like do a smoke screen, and instead he grabs a handful of cocaine.
Just poof. Tony Montana.
Like throwing it in people's faces and pocket sand.
Wait, isn't there a show or a movie that makes like they literally no? It's Tropic Thunder when he has the meth and he shoves it in people's faces and makes them overdose. That would be Rich with cocaine, just shoving handfuls of cocaine in people's face.
In battle, he's just so fast that he just runs by, slaps people in the face with cocaine.
Just ah!
Every time he takes a nat one, every time he rolls a nat one, he inhales it himself and just gets faster.
Yeah, he does another line. Anyway. So, the Criollo beans are offered to you.
He'll try the one just because it was offered to him and he doesn't want to be rude. Hopefully the one won't mess him up too much.
Well, it is just the bean. So, you try to, like, bite into it and break it off in your beak, and it's hard. Even taking, like, a dagger and trying to cut it open, it's not working.
Take out one of my leather shoes and try to smack it and, like, crack it open.
Nope. There's a slight imprint on your left shoe.
Kind of having a really
Impressive.
good time watching this.
Oh, yeah.
Impressive.
Hey, if you want to try something even better, we can go to my dad's shop. It's right down the street.
What's that?
The blacksmith. He's got hammers.
And in Durgar, he'll say, "You little bird, I like your style."
I don't know what that means, but I'll take it as a yes, and we'll head over there.
It sort of translates to, from Durgar to Dwarvish, it would roughly translate to small feather, good moves.
Don't know what that means, but I'll take it as a yes. Let's head over there. And I'll take him over to my dad's shop.
All right.
I will just be trotting along with him.
Easy enough to do. Luckily, not too far away from where the house is at, so you get there in nominal time. Everything closed up, but you know your way in and around. Hammers, anvils, the whole 9 yards, everything needed for a blacksmith.
Now that
While
I
I'm
am,
at it, I know how to clean the tools. I don't know how to use them.
I am proficient in them now, so I will pull out like the iron ingot tongs or whatever to hold the beam, and then I'll take the hammer and I'll try and like hammer it down.
Give me athletics check.
What check?
Athletics?
Does he get proficiency since he's proficient in smiths?
Mm-hmm.
Richard has created a new weapon.
+4 because of the tools, so 13.
You're able to hold and use everything just right, and you kind of just ping, 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 and you're like, sweet, we made it through. And then you lift up the hammer, and the hammer head splits in two.
What the fuck?
I don't know. I mean, I guess you're supposed to boil them, but wow. Okay. Let's not. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. Let's You know what? Let's go. Let's go. I think I need a drink.
As soon as you
Yeah.
say that, hello, hello. I heard Vernon. Are you in there? I heard you banging. I've got an order for you.
Sorry, he's not here. Shop's closed.
Paulie, is that you?
Do I know the voice?
Possibly someone that your dad's worked with a bit. Obviously, if they're bringing in orders, then that means they're probably a liaison between the military and him. So it could be a couple different people. It's semi-familiar enough.
Okay, Rich, I'll hide for a second.
I will hide with the broken hammer.
I will go to the door. Hey, yeah, we're kind of, well, he's kind of in the middle of dinner right now. He'll be back tomorrow. He had to close shop early because of, oh my God. You know, because of company and stuff, but,
He's in the kiln.
I was, huh?
Rajal put himself in the kiln.
Right. Why does it smell like roast bird? I don't. It must be the turkey. Yeah, he'll be back tomorrow though.
Oh, are you picking up after your father then?
You know what? Yeah, I was just practicing a little bit on the side.
Good luck, son. Good luck.
Yeah, I know.
Well, here, I got an order manifest for him. And he
okay, yeah. I'll totally leave this on the anvil for him when I'm done.
Oh no, he definitely needs to see it by tonight so he can order in his supplies.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'll put it right in my bag right now.
Awesome. All right, Paulie. Well, good luck. Hopefully, you can open up the shop with your dad here soon.
Yeah. Have a good night, you.
And he walks off.
Okay, Rajan, I don't know what to do with the hammer. Where are you? What the fuck?
I'm over here, and then I'm not actually over there.
Yeah, that's not helping. Okay. Shit. Fuck. He's gonna kill me.
Co-parent.
Oh, you want me to give it to Comparin so he can take the blame? I mean, I'm not opposed to it, but you know that's not really fair. I mean, we did break it, so I mean, I'm happy.
He will wave his hands like magic in front, and appear in front of him, and then he'll wave his hands again and pretend like Comparin's fixing it.
So mending. Comparin can. Okay, yeah. Okay, well, okay. Will this fit in your bag? Your pouch? Your special one?
I mean, yeah.
That could still be many different things.
I can fit into like all my bags.
No, I mean, I point to the coin purse, the one that's like bag of holding.
The coin purse, no, probably it wouldn't fit there, but he could like literally just put it in his backpack.
Okay.
I would think a blacksmith's hammer is just like a ball peen hammer, but like with a sledgehammer head.
Yeah. So this is actually a dwarven hammer, so it's a bit bigger. It's about a foot and a half long, not including the head, which the head alone is 15 pounds, pure iron, and it's about 8 inches long, 4 inches tall, and 4 inches wide.
Okay. Give it to me. Put it in my bag.
Which right now it's split down the middle, so it's 2 inches wide pieces. So you have 2 slabs of iron, and then the half wood and half metal handle of the hammer.
Racha also, just as a suggestion, like gestures to the entirety of the place and just goes, "Fix it."
I mean, you want to fix it here?
I mean, it's an option.
Yeah, but that would take you a really long time. And he would honestly know the difference.
True.
Yeah, let's talk to Kaporin later. And let's get
Quite.
out of here now. And bring that bean.
Oh, right. And just goes and grabs it.
And we book it out of there. After I lock up, of course.
Is there, you still have the paperwork with you?
I do, yeah. I have it in my hand, and I totally forgot about it. I'm just holding it in my hand.
Just freaking out, talking with, just manifest in his hand.
That's why I was able to sneak around so easily. It was just all the noise.
All right.
I sing that laminated paper sound when you shake it.
Yeah. Mini storm sound. All right.
Horns ringing from the conversation.
Yeah, your nose itches, your ears hurt. So, back to the dinner. As everyone's winding down from eating, except for Vernon, he's still trucking along. Any conversations anyone wants to have?
Horns trying to talk it up with someone.
Easy enough to do. She's very talkative.
If he can get a outfit commissioned for himself, is just like he loves her style and just.
Yeah, she's definitely down. She usually does women, but she's more than happy to take a crack at it, as long as you don't mind a little bit more of a flow to your clothes. She said it'd be more robe-like than it would be like pants and shirt.
I feel like that he would be like, yeah, that works. He's like, he just really likes the outfit, and he's like, I want something of that, like.
She says that she just got in a large roll of midnight blue satin that she's interested to work with.
And he's like, okay, yeah, that works.
And she noticed your aesthetic of a little darker of the clothing. And she says, I think it will work with your whole thing you've got going on.
He's kind of like, huh, thing? Like, he hadn't really noticed it. And it's okay. It's
You're black on black on black? Yeah, no.
He's like, this is comfortable. And he just is like, you're the style. I trust your instincts.
Well, she asks how long you guys are going to be in town then for. Because there's a few people in your party that she would love to make something for.
Bryn?
In the middle of the conversation with Hawkus, and she just looks over. Kaporin?
How long are we staying?
Why the fuck am I the default person for this? I don't know.
Mom!
I can
Just
totally
look-
imagine Kaporin is the type of person where he asks for Bryn, and Bryn continues talking, and he just goes, Bryn!
Yeah, the
Bryn!
Stewie from Family Guy, yeah.
Yeah.
Bryn.
Yeah, but at this point, I feel like
Hilder,
Bryn's
Bryn Hilder.
known. She feels like he's gonna just keep poking at it. I just don't answer, so I gotta answer. She'll look at, because they're the only two here, Nori and Amric, and just shrug at them. I don't know. Did we have that plan?
I didn't have any deadlines.
I mean, I know we wanted to get to Kaporin's mom, but I mean, we're going out of our way. I don't know, a couple days, I guess.
Yeah, a couple days.
Around there sounds good.
Okay. And Kaporin's like, a couple days. It's as much time as you need, Fiona.
She kind of smirks. Goes, all right, well, stand up. Let me get some measurements.
Or just is like full on like teeing in like the middle of the little roundabout if when she needs it.
She doesn't stand up. She just looks at you and goes, all right.
He's a little confused, like, oh, okay, and sits back down.
Trust me, dear, as long as I've been doing this, and not to brag, as good as I am, I don't need to take actual measurements. I just need to see my canvas. Which reminds me, I'm not gonna do it quite as nasally as you, but Bryn,
Yes.
you mind standing up and giving us all a twirl? You don't.
Can I
You don't
ask
gotta
why?
be fancy about it. Just give us a front and back.
Confused, she will just like, you know what? This probably isn't even the weirdest thing she's been asked. She's just gonna do it.
After you finish, thank you very much. And you can see her make like mental notes, and then turns back to you, Kapoor. So besides satin, is there anything other types of cloth that you like to use?
I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
What, you didn't do your research before this?
Corduroy.
It's like how you don't
Denim.
do research on the clothing. I don't have fabric off the top of my head.
Denim
For
it is.
shame.
Velvet,
Horsehide.
corduroy, linen,
Velvet would be nice. I like
cotton.
that a lot.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I was just thinking velvet in the top of my head.
Red velvet, got it. Now everyone's hungry.
Yeah, I mean, Kapoor's kind of like he's used a little velvet for his creations, and he's just kind of thinking off the top of his head. And maybe like cotton.
Maybe some brocade.
Does he know denim?
Yeah,
Doesn't
denim's
exist.
Denim's pretty popular.
in some portions of Cydia, yeah.
He probably name off like the top three in his head. So like probably some silk and cotton. Name off a couple colors like
Blue suede shoes.
name off like a couple basic tone colors that he's worn in the past. Some green, some blues. Definitely he's taught like looks at Nori. He's like she looked great in like a seafoam green or something.
As Kapoor, like after he mentions some of the fabrics and starts to go off in colors and things that he's worn, and you can see Fiona's. It's now become the proprietor and the customer sort of relationship, where she's letting him talk, but she has completely thrown up the wall, and she's just doing the smile and the nod, like she's taking everything in, even shooting out like a random little question, like, "Oh, really? And how long was that for?" type of, just to continue the amicable relationship. She's already made up her mind on everything that's going on, but just letting the customer vent as much information as they want to.
That sounds like everybody listening to Kaporan.
You know, you're not wrong in most cases.
And Laverne is kind of like slowly inched her way closer and closer to you, Kaporan. And at one point, you're getting like uncomfortable with how like awkward she's starting to get, and you kind of turn and go, "Yes," and she kind of just reaches out and like smears a portion of your face, and like looks at her hand, and some of your makeup is on it, and she's like, "I knew it."
Excuse?
She kind of just wipes it off on one of the napkins that she's got. I just wasn't sure. Needed to. No one's face can be that smooth.
Well, let's just add it, and Kaporan just pulls out like out of his side pocket, just just fixes it up real quick.
And Fiona kind of goes, "Speak for yourself, darling." She kind of just... And Annabelle looks over. "You don't have to show off, Fiona." "Well, I'm just saying, I've started this new regiment from a place called Avon. It's doing wonders for my skin."
Kaporan's like, any suggestions?
"Avon? Don't worry, I'm
Just
looking
like-
at possibly getting into the business myself. I can give you my product redemption code."
Oh, Kaporan's like writing everything down. It's like, okay. It's like, oh, please do. Please share. It's not
Kaparan's
like,
gonna become
you-
part of a pyramid scheme.
Are we gonna start having to carry around a wagon that
Full of
just has
Avon
makeup
product.
in it?
Yes.
It's not going in the bag. I refuse.
We're gonna have a character arc where it gets burnt to the ground, and Kaporan's just gonna end up in debt for the rest of his.
And since technically Bryn put everyone's name on the deed to the keep gets repoed.
I feel like we left his name off so he wouldn't become all like high and mighty about it, though. I feel like that was talked about.
We'll see.
I love you, Kaporan.
Kaporan sneaks back just because he didn't want Kaporan filling out and wrote Kaporan's name in for himself.
"Oh, you forgot one," and puts in forward. All right. So, dinner winds down with no Polly here. Some conversation topics that Annabelle wanted to talk about are off the table. So she's just doing the casual, like, how did you guys meet? How long have you all been together? You guys give her the whole Kember rundown, as Hawkins is able to join in for some portions of it. Him being a little bit more suave when it comes to the gift of gab, knowing which things to say and which things not to say. Kind of helping you guys smooth over some questionable areas that might have, for most people, it'd be an interesting portion of the story, but for parents of someone who's in the party, is more of a stressor than anything. So he helps smooth things over by saying, "Oh yeah, they helped with my business for a while," and things like that.
At one point, Kaporan's been gagged and thrown off into a corner.
I mean, if you're into that, I mean,
Kaporan loves to share things, and
well, like I said, Hawk is much more suave when it comes to it, so he knows how to interject. And Kaporan can be soft-spoken at times, especially against someone like Hawkus, who can force
I feel
his
like
way.
at one point, Nori just like vice gripped on his mind, just like, do not bring it up.
Just constantly in Kaporan's brain, just la 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 la, so he can't even focus on what he's about to say.
No, just like one threat, and then just slowly drag the
connection.
link away so he can't respond.
But you guys get through the rest of dinner and most of dessert without much in the way of worrisome conversation. unless somebody else would like to ask or do anything during this dinner time altogether.
I want to talk to Hawkes, but not here.
Bryn would have just asked how's the port and, talked business, his business, whatever he does.
Yeah, he would have told you the business is great, especially with his newfound familial connection with Solbrun and the contracts done with the Ixian military to bring in different artificer weapons. I want to say artificial weapons. It's something completely different, but is it?
I definitely think artificial is the right term for this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
either that or it's like artificial.
That's
Like,
what I
that's
was.
all I got.
Artificial.
So these artificial weapons. Yeah, and so just says that there's a new contract now between them and Ixia, and since he had family in Solbrun, he had worked it into the contract to deliver and drop them off here, especially since District 2, being at the northern end, allows him to travel pretty much the entirety of Ixia unimpeded, for the most part, allowing him to get sort of a wide-eyed look at what Ixia has to offer. Saying that the alchemical fire, and he calls them grenades, are decently... They're only the first batch of things that are going to be brought over. A few guns are brought over in the process, but some siege engines and large mobile weapons of war are going to be not only brought over, but also built in Ixia. So he's actually possibly looking at giving up the port in the Bloodgood lands and opening up a new port in their clan lands directly, so that way they don't have to do that stop and just kind of circle around the cliffs back and forth to Ixia, since it's easier to travel by boat than it is by land. Especially with the Citadel being dead set in the middle of the entire adventure.
I mean, you don't want to take this stuff past there into Ixia.
He just says that one of the Master Magicians is a dick, and would most likely stop them and or commandeer all their supplies if they were to travel too close to the Citadel.
Nori just gives a very knowing nod.
But yeah, she just would have want to catch up with him, kind of thing.
Yep. When he talks about the Dick Master Magician, and you give that nod, not really part of the conversation, just kind of overhearing it on the other side of Bryn. He kind of leans back in his chair and goes, looks at you with squinty eyes. All right. Then just goes back to the conversation with Bryn.
Nori doesn't respond.
So, anybody else?
Amric would probably just be adding into Bryn Hawkes' and Nori's conversation, but won't bring up anything himself.
All right. By the end of dinner, all the plates and tables get cleaned off. The waiters take care of the rest of the pig that's on the spit. They even, though it takes 2 waiters to do it, take the spike that has the shank out of the ground, clean it off, and return the spike to Fiona, who places it back into its sheath. Tables get cleared and start to get pulled away as everyone gets up and away from the tables. And you guys are sort of left just all standing around, chatting, talking. Annabelle and Fiona furiously in conversation about seems like something business related, talking about shipments and locations, things like that. Vernon has started to slowly shift his way over to Laverne, and Hawkus has slowly started to shift towards them as well, as the chaos crew starts to connect with one another until they feel like it's an adamant amount of time of waiting before Hawkus and Laverne kind of start nudging Vernon in the sides, and he's like, all right. Turns around, and Annabelle's already looking at him like, just go. He turns around. She said yes.
Where were they going?
Oh, they're going drinking.
Where, though, you said earlier, and
Oh, I said where they had come from, so now they're going to a different place.
okay.
So they start heading out, and Hawkus, passing by Bryn and Nori, says, if you guys want to follow.
Amric will go with.
Maybe next time. She's just assuming Nori does not want to go drink with that.
Laverne just says, ha, next time, sure.
Ren, you can go ahead. Don't worry about me. It'll be fine.
I feel like I want to insight check that. She's like,
Laverne kind of says over to Hawkus, I guess Mommy had to ask Daddy.
okay, then we'll go.
Have fun.
All right, any other takers?
Just the strong
good.
people.
Okay.
Points has another mimosa in his hands. Just, I'm fine. I've been drinking all night.
All right. So as you guys start to maneuver your way out into the main streets, Hawkus, Vernon, and Laverne, the sprier of the group of three, kind of takes the lead about 10 feet in front of everybody, turns around. Well, pick it up already. Come on, we don't got all night. Vernon. Laverne, where are we going? We're going to start the Mad Hippo. Hawkus like, I like the sound of that one. Vernon's like, she's starting us off strong, I can tell you that. Turns around, y'all better put on your drinking belts. And you see both Hawkus and Vernon reach down to the belts, loosen it two notches, and then put it back.
Baltley's just across the street with Racha, waiting for everybody to leave.
Yeah, you see the group head out, and then you see them all. Well, you see Hawkus and Vernon stop, readjust their belts, and you know exactly what they're about to go do.
And then I'll go back in the yard.
Okay. Going back in, you see. You see Kaporin, Annabelle, and Fiona all hanging out with one another. Annabelle and Fiona really having the conversation while Kaporin's kind of like slowly swaying, sipping his mimosa. Now, mimosas are one thing. Dwarven mimosas, much more alcohol content in them.
I was betting on it.
Yeah. No con save on this one. You are tipsy.
I'll walk up to Nori. Hey, sorry about that earlier. You know, it's family stuff. You get it.
Yeah, I get it. I'm sorry.
That's all good. So I am gonna go talk to my mom real quick and find out where she put you guys up. And then if you want to go back, or if you want to go like rest or whatever, uh, I will lead you there and then catch up to the others later and let them know where they're staying as well. If you want to do something else, we can definitely go do something else. But just let me talk to my mom real quick. Kind of have a seat because it might take a little bit longer than just saying bye and stuff. But you know,
Take your
we need
time.
to talk
Holly,
to.
There's no rush.
We need to talk to Kaporan too. So, and I'll go over to my mom and wait.
He's more than
Well,
a little tipsy. Just a warning.
I figured as much. I saw how much he drank.
He's already pulled like the shoulders of his upper robe off a little bit, like kind of doing like the off shoulder thing, kind of just feeling the music. There is no music, but it's Kaporan, so there's always music going on up in there.
Did they leave?
Hopefully it
We had
means
like a quartet last time.
Oh, there was none this time. It was too short of notice.
I was gonna say maybe Kaparin's just starting to hear Luke, you know?
Fortunately,
Or
no.
playing Luke.
Laid back Luke. Okay, so speaking of that with Nori, you look over. Annabelle is kind of watching you as Fiona is talking to her. They're not having like a heated conversation. It's just more of pleasant convo.
I'll nod to her.
She kind of gestures to come to her.
Absolutely. I do whatever she says. I'll be right back, Nori. Rasha's around here somewhere.
Hi. Just like right next to her.
Or just like jumps and yelps, just like, where the fuck? How? Every time.
So as you get over next to your mother, she kind of slides her arm into one of your arms, interlocking, and kind of just holds you there, letting Fiona finish the sentence that she was speaking before kind of turning to you. Yes, my son?
I was just wondering if you had, I know it's really short notice, but if you had made arrangements or if I need to go do that myself. Because we don't have any place to stay tonight.
Well, luckily for you, Fiona here has allocated a previous establishment. You would know it as the Storm Ferry.
Okay. Yeah, I know exactly where that is.
I believe. What is it now, Fiona? Well, now it is Trident Trinity.
Nice name.
She kind of
Uh,
curtsies to it.
As I'm watching Kaporan like swaying back and forth behind them, I'm like, if they ordered anything or bought anything or asked for anything, let me know and I will pay for it.
You're saying this to Fiona?
To Fiona, yeah.
She kind of smiles and goes, "Don't worry about it. A friend of Annabelle's is more than a friend to me."
Yeah, but I kind of owe you a lot more than that, and just think of it as like a little bit of reparation.
Don't worry, you're able to inspire me to open up a completely new line of clothing. So, don't fret. Feel that you've already paid your way in full.
All right. Well, I turned to my mom real quick. I'm gonna take them over and get them settled, and then I will be back because Laverne and Dad are gonna be out for a while with the others, and I can catch up with them later. But I kind of need to talk to you anyway. so I'll be back in a little bit.
She kind of reaches over, gives you a peck on the cheek, and lets you go.
And I will, Kaporin, let's go. You can bring the glass. And usher everyone out and take them over to this the Trident's something formerly known as the Storm Ferry,
Trident,
which is only 3 blocks away.
Nori will just like give a polite goodbye before she leaves, so she's not being horribly rude.
And just kind of does the little wave goodbye, and like with the other hand in the glass, continues to sip as he walks away, kind of just slowly, just wobbling back and
taking
forth.
the glass? I don't think you should take the glass.
It's fine. It's fine. I can take it back. I can bring it back later.
It's only half full, Nori.
And we will walk 3 blocks to the inn. And
right.
I will make sure that everybody has a room.
Could Sneaky Racha had stayed and listened to Annabelle and Fiona's conversation just because he's curious like that?
Make a stealth check.
Or dancing in the street.
You feel like you're decently hidden. Conversation starts to pick back up, and then Annabelle kind of like stops Fiona and looks over in your direction. Richie, it's wonderful you to hang back, and more than glad to have you around, but do you know how to get there? I don't want you getting lost later.
Nope.
You might want to catch up to your friends then.
Your friends then.
Fiona kind of looks at Annabelle. Annabelle looks at me. I haven't decoded how he speaks yet.
He'll like hold his hands up to both of them and be like, your friends then.
Your compatriots? You should go follow your compatriots. Me. I feel like this is the weirdest game of charades I've ever played.
Ooh, watch this. And he'll start interpretive dancing. And about halfway through, he's just starting to fuck with them. He's the first half, he's trying to communicate, like, I want to stay here and just chat with you guys. But then he's just doing a bunch of extra shit for the sake of it.
Make a performance and then a deception check. So they understand what you're trying to say, but then completely lose you at the end of what you're getting across. To the point where you're still like mimicking and miming stuff, and Annabelle just kind of stops. We're just going to be talking about business, so it's nothing too terribly interesting for you. Go with your friends. I'm sure we'll be seeing and talking with one another more soon.
Ooh, discussing business.
Yes, and you are not a business partner, so...
I can be.
If we branch out into bird clothes, we will definitely seek your advice and consultation.
Presents BDSM.
Racha will pull out his leather tuxedo and be like, bird clothes. And then he's like holding it up like he's pitching an offer, like, this is what I got for you.
If Fiona is about to say something, and Annabelle just puts up her hand, says, "We are not getting into that realm of clothing." Fiona kind of shakes her head.
Why not?
Fiona shakes her head like, "All right." Appreciated, Richie, but like I said, if we end up going down that route, especially now that we know which routes we would end up be going down, we will definitely reach out and bring you into the fold.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yes. Now run along.
Quite. And they'll just put it away and then go skittering off.
You hear the gate close behind you and a lock. Do birds even have nipples?
Nope. As he's running off.
All right. Not being too terribly far behind the rest of the group, especially with Kaporn being as loud as he is, half playing his lute and mimosa in the other hand. You're able to track them down and catch up behind them, no problem. For those going on the bar crawl, for the Mad Hippo, I need you all to roll Constitution saving throws.
I feel like I really want to use Indomitable right here, but I don't know if I want to waste it already.
Same, but I'm gonna save it.
I did a 2. Yeah, no, I gotta re-roll it. I can't let, no, I gotta.
There you go, that's a little bit better. I rolled 3 natural 19s in a row. So they're all good to go. But are very eager and surprised that you guys are able to hold your own as you guys move from the Mad Hippo. Whoops. Over to Shades and Shadows. A little bit more seedier, hole-in-the-wall-esque type of place where the beers are filled up twice as full and the prices are half as high. Let's go ahead and get another round of Constitution saving throws.
It is my turn to use Indomitable.
Fuck me, right? Another fucking 2.
27.
I'm done.
All right, Bryn. At the end of Shades and Shadows, as you guys are led out into the night air once again, you get that kind of smack in the face of the cold air, kind of giving you that almost immediate sober feeling until you try to take that first step, and then you realize, oh shit. And just like that old Christmas movie, one foot in front of the other. That's all you focus on, with your arm on Amric's shoulder, helping guide you forward, as you guys now make your way to the White Beard. Slightly more lit establishment. This place is much more of a whiskey bar. Harder liquors. Let's get another con saving throws. Bryn, you have disadvantage on this one. Okay. As you
I made it
guys
to 3 bars.
as you guys make your way out of the White Beard, you see Laverne is starting to take a bit slower of a jaunt than she was at the beginning of the night. Kind of being annoying to Bryn, as Bryn is much more sluggish. This small dwarven girl running around you, jabbing, poking fingers, trying to slap out and stop her, but she's just too quick. Amric, you're starting to kind of see double, and lights are starting to give that long, like, flare effect to you as you look at them. As Hawkus taking Bryn and Vernon taking Amric and just pushing you guys forward as you guys make your ways to the Worm and the Worm. The Worm, the W-Y-R-M, and the Worm, W-O-R-M. Before you guys even enter this establishment, you're hearing loud ruckusry from inside. This one being much larger and much more of a full-on tavern with some music playing in the background and an overall jovial vibe. People outside in different levels of decay, as there are some people completely passed out on the floor, mugs still in hand, while others are in that gradated scale of upright to prone. And you guys push in. Let's get some con saving throws. Amric and Bryn with disadvantage. And Laverne.
Nothing if not consistent.
So, by the time you guys leave the Worm and the Worm, Amric, you're feeling roughly the same as when you walked in. Nothing too crazy. You were able to get like a glass of water in between all the different ales you've had. Luckily, everything's being paid for the night. Bryn, you weren't able to keep up with everybody. And by the time that you guys leave here, you're starting to deep breathing exercises, and you've got Laverne kind of rubbing the small of your back, trying to help you out. Doing the cold compress to the forehead, getting all the loose hairs out of the eyes, as you kind of are supporting your own lower back, doing the deep breathing. She's like, "Come on,
much shorter.
Yeah." She's like really like stretching up and helping it out. She's like, "Come on, don't wuss out on us. You can do it." Hawkus and Vernon a good 20 feet ahead of all of you as they continue trudging forward. This time wrapping you guys down to a place called the Trick Sleeve. This place is smaller than the last one that you went to, but a little bit more in an uppity portion of the city, just past what looks to be a large market square style. Though the bar itself is on the opposite streets from the large market, and the large market kind of is like the boundary of the higher class area. This bar is right across, so it kind of serves that higher and middle class clientele. But even with that, you can hear loudness from the inside now that it is bordering on the 11 o'clock hour. This city, mainly dwarven, and you're realizing that that has put you in for a bad night now, as dwarves love their alcohol. And you have not been to any place that has had this many taverns already. And you guys seem to be decently early into the night still. Mistakes were made, but you've got to ride this one out. And I need Constitution saving throws from Bryn and Amric. Amric, yours is straight. Bryn, yours is disadvantage. As you guys get to the Trick Sleeve, you realize that this is a shots bar with different artisanal style created shots. You guys pull up, and these little trays of different shots get brought in front of you as you guys start hammering them down. Luckily, Amric, you're like, these are tiny glasses compared to everything else we've had so far. And so you're taking them in stride along with Hawkus, Laverne, and Vernon. Bryn's a little slower on the upkeep. There's one that you're taking some of the shots and they taste okay, and then you're doing all right. Then you get this one shot and you're like, oh, you've never had a spicy shot before. And you just weren't expecting it. And you kind of just turn to Laverne and go, what was that? She tells you that it has Tabasco sauce in it. And you're just like, oh, Tabasco and a thing called Lucas was in this shot. And that kind of just turns you off from like the rest of the 4 shots that are in front of you, because you're just like, the 2 you had before that were like a yellow and a green, and then you had this one which was red, and the ones that are left are like black, brown, clear white, and then silver. So you're just like, oh god, what do the colors mean now? In your head you think, thank god I'm immune to necrotic damage, as you look at the black one. But by the time that you guys end up leaving this establishment, Bryn, your knees are starting to give. You probably cannot make it to the next bar. You can try. DC is going to be higher for you. And if you fail, you'll start throwing up. But you're at that point in the night where you're like, I'm either going to rally or I'm done.
I mean, it's an option.
You can puke and rally, or you can go to bed.
Yeah, no, she's not going to wuss out on it. She's going to try.
Okay. You guys move down to the Animorph. This tavern is in the upper scale portion of the city. This one's a decently nice establishment. Loudness is coming from inside, but nothing as ruckus as the rest of the places you've been to. Seems to be more of a put-together location. But that doesn't really kind of gel with the vibe of your group. Luckily, this establishment knows Vernon, and as soon as he enters with his posse, you all get directed to a far corner of the establishment, and curtains get pulled around your group. This is much more of a cocktail bar. Much lower vibe, dulcet, like a piano is playing. And you guys are just fucking having a rager in the corner. But very tasty drinks. So go ahead, Bryn. Con saving throw with disadvantage. Amric, con saving throw. Then a con save for the 3. Okay.
I'm just assuming I throw up.
After like your second drink in, you get that heave-ho feeling, and Laverne almost picks you up, baby cradle style, and kind of ushers, because she knows you can't walk that fast. So the only way to get you out of this place fast is for her to carry you, and she's a strong little girl. So she kind of kicks your knee out as you start to and hold yourself from going any further. She kicks your knee out, catches you, and just through the curtains, out the front door, around the corner, kind of like uprights you onto your feet, takes your hand and puts it on the wall, so that way you're supporting yourself, and then just grabs your hair and just stands there. As you just let loose the behemoth that is every method of color and odor drink that you've had tonight off the side of this building.
She's pulling a Kaporin.
Except after like 25 drinks instead of 3.
And not like 3.
So you finally get done. She kind of gives you a couple pats on the back. Lets go of your hair, kind of sits you up. Takes out a small flask from her side, which has water in it. Kind of just dabs it onto a handkerchief and hands it to you to wipe yourself. And then she kind of like pours a little of the water in her hand and kind of just flicks it at your face. She's like, come on, don't quit on me yet.
No, I won't do that. It's just like trying to get away from the water.
And as you guys are starting to turn, you see Amric coming out and almost slipping in your throw up. He goes past you, kind of doing a woo, and like catches himself and like moves another like 5 feet down before. And she kind of puts the flask away, puts it away. So should we wait for him?
Probably.
About a good 2 minutes of vocally hearing.
All right, maybe not. After like 30 seconds, she's like, never mind.
Amric probably like putting up the hand behind him, like, go without me.
Don't look at me.
Laverne screams out, I'm not quitting you. So after 30 seconds, she, with your lead, you guys turn back around and go inside. Much more put together than when you first arrived here. And now, like, you've got sober a little bit, you're kind of like looking around, looking at some of the finer detail. It's nice in here. At first, when you walked in, it was just a dark blur. Now you're seeing like some engravings, some like trophies that are hung up on the wall. It's a nice like gray dark oak. It's a nice place in here. It's cozy. And then you could just hear Hawkus and Vernon just being loud as fuck behind these dark black curtains in the corner as you guys approach. And like Laverne, this entire time is very like starry eyed. Like every time she looks at you, she's not focusing at all. It's just a complete glaze across the eyes. She's in that zone of tipsy but not drunk. So she's just kind of like riding the wave and just helping you out. As you guys are supposed to sit back down and start to have a few more drinks, to wash the taste out of your mouth. Amric coming a couple minutes later. He not having a handkerchief. A little bit of spittle on the side, and Laverne kind of just reaches over and hands you the handkerchief. It kind of points to your cheek.
Amric will at least attempt to clean himself up. Depends on how drunk he still is.
Sobered up a little bit from that, so it's not too difficult. Vernon notices this and goes, oh, salsa. But you guys have finished with the Animorph, and now it's on to the Mellow Key. Oh, we're only about halfway done.
Great. That's amazing.
I'm gonna die.
No, I've sobered up a little bit. It's fine.
So you no longer have disadvantage on your throws, but your DC has gone up.
Love that.
Yeah.
Great.
So
There are worse ways to die in this universe.
Constitution saving throws, guys. So, as you guys get to the Mellow Key, this seems to be closer to the port. So you're seeing much more leathery skinned people. People who spend a lot of time probably out on the lake on the boats. And it's a much different vibe. Fresh air is probably the main difference that you smell. Because like all the other bars, it gets musty being indoors, especially with all the alcohol and everything. It's got sort of that smell to it. Luckily, being this close to the water creates a nice fresh breeze that helps keep Amric sober. But Bryn, as you guys have walked here, you started. The fresh air was nice on the walk, but as soon as you get inside, sitting down and you down a drink. And you move on to the next one, you're kind of like, you're starting to feel it in the cheek. You're starting to feel it in the ears. You're like, oh, this is happening a lot quicker than I expected. So, finishing with the Mellow Key, Vernon and Hawkus being a staple of the people here. A lot of them know and are constantly coming up to your guys' group, buying free drinks and clapping, shooting off little stories here and there, and just keeping the overall atmosphere up. You guys move on to the Conjured Refreshment. The next tavern. Another port bar. Again, Vernon has a lot of sway here, a lot of pull. And Hawkus, being decently new to the city, but already making a name for himself, attracts a lot of attention as well. So you guys get a lot more drinks to have about. But I'm going to need Constitution saving throw from everyone. Bryn, disadvantage. You're not the only one who rolled nat 20 on that one.
How many 20s have you rolled, sir?
Hey, if I'm not officially designated as the long-term party member for just partying after this,
The party member.
I know.
And
I
here
made
I
it through the
am.
wedding, and I'm gonna make it through this bar crawl.
This is fantastic.
So, by the end of the night of the Conjured Refreshment, as you guys leave, Bryn, you've got that feeling again. But unfortunately, it's either go home, you don't think there's a puke and rally in you. It's either keep it all in and continue on, or go and get some sleep. Laverne notices this and she kind of like asks what you want to do.
I don't even know where we're staying.
I do.
I don't think I can. I don't think I can go to another one, Laverne.
It's alright, we're actually not too far away from where you guys are staying.
I think I need sleep.
Actually,
I'm sorry.
the next bar that they're going to is like right next to where you guys are staying, so I could just take you to the restroom and we can just go.
She's just gonna nod at that plan.
Okay. So you guys go to the next place called the Bright Gargoyle. And as you guys head in, Vernon and Hawkus moving to what seems to be their usual table. Amric in full swing and suit behind him. Laverne says, go ahead and order us some drinks. We're just going to use the powder room. And Vernon and Hawkus kind of already starting to greet other people, just, all right. And she veers you out the side entrance into the street, up the, it's literally like half a block away. And about halfway there, you start to like lose your balance, so she baby carries you once more. And this tall 6-foot woman being carried by like this 4'4" woman. As they're going through, a lot of people see who it is that's carrying someone, so they're not even questioning it. Like, oh, it's Laverne Schlemazel. All right, that makes sense. And she kind of sidewalks through the door of Trident Trinity, talks to the half-elven woman who's running the front desk, asking for the Schlemazel rooms, and the one where the little half-elven girl is in. And they give you the room number. Nori, you are relaxing on the bed, letting sleep take over before you hear sliding, a little bit of heavy footsteps, and what sounds to be a coo, coo, coo of someone kicking the door.
Nori goes and opens the door, I guess.
As soon as you slightly open the door gets pushed out in front of you, and you see a mess of blonde hair being the first thing through the doorway. Bryn, you kind of take a knock to the back of the head as she used your head to open the door. And you see Bryn being suspended by tiny little hands as she is being waddled through and gets placed on the bed.
Oh dear. Nori's gonna go over and cast Lesser Restoration on poor Bryn. Don't know how much that's gonna do, but I'm gonna do it.
It helps. Not
Are
enough,
we
but
all
it
in the
helps.
same-
No, you guys all have different rooms.
Oh. You have a fun time, my dear.
Yeah. She's just gonna like start to just go to sleep.
Laverne, as you start to sleep, she kind of like shakes your shoulder and leave me alone. And she turns to you, Nori. Water. Lots of water.
Yep, that's what I was
Don't
going
let
to
her
do.
sleep until she drinks.
Nope. Nori's gonna get her some water and
She
just
kinda
try
like-
to like sit her up. Just like, come on, just a little bit of water. You'll feel better, I promise. Help her take off her shoes, all that stuff.
Once you're in her hand, she kind of gives you a punch on the shoulder, Bryn. Not super hard. Goes, you did good, kid.
Bryn's gonna attempt and like completely miss, I'm assuming, to do the same thing.
Roll a d4.
Fucks Nori right in the face.
Hits the bowl that Nori has of water, and it just all over Nori.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay, it's just
I
water.
think you've got this from here.
I got it.
And she rushes back. Amric, seemingly not that long for you guys. Laverne returns back, no Bryn. You kind of like turn and ask, where did Bryn go? Just as like Vernon says the same thing. And Laverne's like, oh, the little mousy one wanted her back. Don't worry. And she takes both her drink and Bryn's drink and downs both of them.
Using me as an excuse.
All right, Amric. Constitution saving throw.
Do I get bonuses for the double nat 20?
Nope. That means you don't have disadvantage. I haven't been giving my people bonuses for their 20s. So by the time the Bright Gargoyle has been finished, you guys all expend out of the night air. It is now past the midnight hour. So there's a nice chill going down. Or going out, I should say. You see Vernon kind of take a bit of a double step as you guys leave. And you're kind of like, I'm doing better than he is. And then you realize that you're like heavily leaning against one of the walls. And then you're like, oh, and you kind of push yourself off and you lean a little bit too far to the right and you kind of like overcorrect yours. And you kind of, okay. Well, good, we're good. Hawkins turns around to everybody like, ready to keep going? Vernon's like, fuck yeah. Laverne turns Vernon down the street, around the corner to the Dreamy Centaur. The Dreamy Centaur, being the closest one it's the closest one to the port itself. This is an open-air bar, so it's not enclosed as much. There's much more outdoor seating going on. And with this, casks are set up all over the place. Amric, you get to see that this place is bad. You wish you didn't fail your last roll. Because this place, people are doing keg stands, people are doing shotgun. This is the frat house bar. This is the over the top, completely balls to the wall, get fucked up bar. And you kind of just see it, and you go, you already have to start doing deep breathing exercises like, oh, fuck. So go ahead and give me Constitution saving throw with disadvantage. Don't worry, Vernon has disadvantage as well. But he does good.
I don't know if that's high enough, but not bad.
You guys each
Something.
do a keg stand, do a couple shotguns, do this interesting ice luge thing, which was refreshing, as well as a number of different bar games and table games. You lose the amount of drinks that you had at this bar. And by the time you guys all leave, you and Laverne are both having trouble walking. This place has a DC of 20. This place ain't no fucking around place. So, with Hawkus bolstering you up and Laverne being bolstered by Vernon, you guys push on to the familiar. Now this one is the closest to the stables. It has an interesting motif about it. Very cowboy-esque. This is a moonshine bar. Different flavors, different microbrewery style of moonshines. This is a place where a lot of different dwarves who've created their own get to showcase and try out, see if people like, and possibly become a staple. So go ahead and give me a Constitution saving throw with disadvantage.
Damn, Abrams holding his own.
Emmerich does not falter when drinks are involved.
So, opening some of these jars, it almost smells like straight ethanol in some cases. In other cases, there is actual flavor to it. But you can't tell if it's maybe that it's so alcoholic and so toxic that your body just doesn't register it as alcohol. It just kind of like pushes it through your pores, or whatever the case may be, you are able to hold on, at least better than Laverne did. That by the time that you guys leave the familiar, Laverne is being arm over shoulder of Vernon, half dragged, half walking their way as you guys make your way to Hell's Gate Tavern.
I beat one of the dwarves. It's all right.
Now, Hell's Gate is the closest to the mining headquarters, at least the entrance to the mining headquarters. This is also down the street from Vernon's own blacksmith shop. You guys have created almost a full circle. This is Vernon's go-to place, as well as Hawkus, as they've been hanging out together recently. So going in with Laverne draped over Vernon's shoulders, as soon as they go in, Vernon greeting everyone and everyone greeting him, makes some motions to a couple of the people who are working here, who take Laverne. He kind of wipes some of the smudge off of her face, and they, one arm over each of their shoulders, they take her out of Hell's Gate and back to the house. So now it's just you two and It's just the two dwarves and you, Emmerich. As Vernon and Hawkes go up to the bar, immediately 3 chairs are vacated, allowing you all to sit. One being a little bit fancier than the rest, has iron trim around the edges, almost like a blacksmith came in and made this chair specifically for themselves. You can see as he spins the chair around to sit on it, it does say across the back, Vernon's Mighty Throne. As he sits, and is the only chair to actually rotate and swivel. As he sits, both armrests of this chair have cup holders. And there's 2 cup holders at the back heads of the chair. As soon as he sits, 2 of the barmaidens come up and put mugs into the top of the chair and attach these long, flexible straws to them. As he does this, Vernon starts to sip on the straws, and as those mugs start to dwindle lower and lower, he takes the mugs that are at the handles of his armrests and starts to fill them up and pour them into the mugs up top to keep it going. The rest of you, unfortunately, have to drink like peasants, with your hands. But, nevertheless, Constitution saving throw, Amric. Still disadvantage.
This close to the end. Nope. I'm out of here.
Seeing Vernon in his throne, you're like, I want to try that. That looks interesting. Though they don't have a chair of such magnificence in your height. Vernon asks for some of the attachments that are attached to his, and says, sit on the floor, and he can basically hold it up for you above. Basically giving you a beer funnel. Unfortunately, you weren't told how to breathe correctly while doing this. And as you are able to finish about half the mug before you really need to take a breath, you do so at a very inopportune time, basically snorting a very large chug of ale, and then still keeping the device in your mouth. So you're like, this weird contortion of breath, snort, drink, as it's just not a good time. You finish the mug and are kind of spittering and spattering. And as you sit there kind of just like looking down into your own lap, you're like, oh my god, what the fuck was that? Just all into your own lap. It's such a violent process, and you're even kind of coughing and sputtering during because you still have ale in your lungs, basically. So you're at the end of the throw up, you cough, and it kind of like puts too much pressure and strain on your brain and just everything going on that you just boom, smack, pass out. His bottom half sitting Indian style, drenched in throw up. His upper half just splayed out on the floor.
A successful endeavor. How many bars are left? Just
one more.
One more after this one?
Yep.
You kept up with the dwarves.
How much respect did I earn from Hawkes and
You'll have to talk to them to find out.
And I'll be gone next session. Woo!
So, anything anyone else would like to do before the end of the night?
I just ask, how many exhaustion points do I get from that one?
Let's just say you're probably not going to be conscious next session.
I was gonna go back and talk to my mom after I dropped everybody off at the inn.
Okay.
And Nori's just taking care of Bryn.
Racha would go to Caparin and have him mend the thing as best he could, like trying to guide his hands over the stuff because he's probably drunk as hell himself.
Yep. Kaporin, go ahead and roll a d6 for me.
Four.
So you leave the pieces in front of Kaporin as he starts to like reach out and grab them all and put them all together. He's sitting there, and with your guidance, Racha, he's trying to focus and mend. And the energy goes out and into the hammer, and it gets put back together. And then Kaporin kind of like stops and like lets it go. He goes, "There we go," and he drops it. And as it hits the floor, you realize he just healed the iron hammerhead, not the actual hammer hilt into the head, which is now sealed. So now you just have a nice full block of iron of the hammerhead, no hole.
I can work with that. And he's just gonna go running off to the blacksmith.
Bye, birdie.
Kaporin passes out. Polly. Heading back, Fiona is still with Annabelle,
Okay.
but says that if it's personal, we can. She turns and looks at Fiona. We can talk another time, right? Well, I'm not going anywhere. So Fiona gets up, gives you a slight bow, Polly, and heads out.
I'll do the same. I'll say thank you very much. It was good seeing you again.
Much better terms
Thankfully,
this time.
Yeah, better circumstances.
Fully clothed as well.
Yeah. Yep, I do that sometimes.
To each their own.
Yeah, well.
And she makes her way out.
I will pull out the fire brandy that we got a couple cities back and hand it to my mom. This was supposed to be from all of us. Unfortunately, obviously, everybody's in a completely different spot right now.
She smiles and... Well, you do know your way to your mother's heart.
Yeah, I just hide it from Dad.
Of course.
I want to apologize. I'm really sorry that I did not give you the details. I know that was not the most ideal of circumstances.
I'm just glad you gave me a warning. That's all I can really ask.
Yeah.
I hope everyone had a good time.
Oh, whether they said it or not, they did. Most of them haven't been home in a long time. So, even if they don't say it, I'm pretty sure they appreciated it.
It's good to know.
I have one more thing for you. I've been holding on to it, I think, mostly because I forgot it and mostly because I didn't want to let it go yet. But when we came back from Castletown, I got a bunch of stuff that was ours that we had left with the Valkyries up north, and one of them was the book of stories that Libra was writing.
Oh,
And,
yes.
I mean, it is what it is, but it does have a lot of stories that you told her. And I thought that maybe you would want it.
She's no longer in need of it?
I haven't seen her since we left Castletown.
Okay.
And I honestly, I mean, traveling with this group and stuff, I don't know when I'm going to see her again or where she even is. And I know I can like call her and stuff, but it just hasn't been. It's been a long few months.
Understandable.
But sadly, what?
Go ahead.
Sadly, it's not been as long for me as it has for you.
It seems to be a recurring thing, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of the reason I came here tonight was for you to ask all those questions that you want to know, the actual answers to. And I promise I won't lie.
She smiles.
But the other reason is because you left a message for me about Laverne, and I want to know what's going on, and if there's anything I can do to help.
That was so long ago. I don't even remember what I said. To be
Oh,
fair,
the usual. Get your ass home. Your sister's driving me nuts. You know, the usual.
I think I probably said that in a point where she was driving me nuts, so I might have over exaggerated a little bit, as I do on a very rare occasion. She hard stares at you, like, don't you dare correct me.
Absolutely not.
But she's a bit pent up recently. Luckily, with Hawkus being in town, it's been a bit of a distraction, allowing her to let loose and verbally through stories and them talking, experience a bit of the world out there. But I mean, I guess you're probably the closest person that could possibly have a idea of what she might be going through. The whole dimension thing and
Yeah.
her whole not really being here for a few years. So much question, so much lost. Whether it's time or whatever the hell happened to you, really. I feel like you're probably the closest person that could feel something akin to what she felt.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're twins.
That usually helps between us.
Usually.
Is she working? Is she doing anything?
She's semi on a contract basis with the military again.
Okay.
Since she was technically compromised to a degree, and not everything has been taken care of when it comes to that. The military doesn't want to put her with a regiment or platoon just yet, or at least put her back in her old location because of all the distrust that might have come about as the doppelganger was pretending to be her this whole time.
Absolutely.
So she feels like she doesn't belong, and she can't go back to her old friends and her old job. She needs something. I've sort of brought this up to Hawkus, and he's offered to bring her down to Sitia, but I need to know from you if that's a smart choice. I've lost her for a few years. I understand it's a bit more wild, wild south down there.
Yeah, it's not safe if that's what you're asking me.
It's safe is neither here nor there. Nothing's ever truly safe. I mean, hell, look at what happened to her. I'm just saying, would she be able to handle herself out there? Obviously surrounded by the right people. And Hawkins seems to be able to handle himself quite well.
Yeah, look at that hammer. Is she back to where she was? Fighting form?
Oh yes, or... we've been training. If anything, she's better than when she went unconscious.
I have actually been thinking about it since I got your message, and I was thinking maybe she could come north with us, depending on how long Hawkus is going to be here. Because we are actually heading back up north to visit Bryn's family, and it just so happens it was the place that we were last time. I promise we're not going to do the same thing we did last time. That's not.
I was about to say.
That's not where we're going at all. We are literally going to visit Bryn's family and reconnect with her people and stuff like that. We're not going to cause trouble We're not going to treasure hunt or anything like that. And I know one of the easier routes. So we're not going to be in that much trouble. But if you need her out for like a couple 3 weeks, we can take her with us if you want. And then when we come back through, if we don't come directly here, I can send her home and she can decide then what she needs to do.
Well, from what I know, Hawks is going back in about a week and a half.
Okay.
He'll be returning, but the whole trip takes him roughly a month and a half to go down there and come back. At least that's what he said. That's if he encounters no problems, such as supply and all that. Though I trust and have faith in you, I don't really know this group of individuals just yet, though they seem a little bit more... Competent
Actually,
isn't the right word.
No, but they're a lot more something. Trust me. They're a lot more
Eccentric?
cautious than the other group was.
They have their wits
Sadly.
about them a little bit more. And that's comforting to a degree, but you guys felt pretty confident last time when you had a... And I know you said you're not going to the same place, but I would hate for both of my children to be in a group that, if they get overrun and I end up losing one, I'm losing both. I definitely do not want that to happen, and I hope you never put yourself in a situation where that is the case.
I'm not
But
trying to.
I'm trying to be a realist here, and I trust in your trust, at least for yourself. When it comes to Laverne, I put more trust into family and what I've seen. And I've seen Hawkins do some insane things so far. So, it's nothing against your group of people, but I would prefer she stay here to the point where Hawkins goes down. My real concern is she's taken in this, not a depression, but a sort of inner resentment, and feels like she could only be here, though she doesn't want to be here because she wants to be exploring and seeing things and bashing things' heads in as she does. I need you to help convince her to go with Hawkins.
Okay.
Now, if you guys can go and see Bryn's family and be back in a week and a half, then I have more than enough faith that you'd bring her back safely, especially if you're only going to see family.
Yeah, it's going to take longer than that. Just getting up to the ice sheet, it takes a week. That's the problem. And then we have to go up from there. Yeah. All right, it looks like another drinking night.
Well, she's at least slowed herself down a bit. She's drunk tonight, so she's not going to be drinking tomorrow. She hasn't taken quite after your father.
Well, another reason to get her out of here. Not that I don't love Dad, you know I do. More than anything. But I understand what you're saying. Yeah. And I will just sit with my mom and answer all her questions about where we've been and what we've done and stuff like that until they stumble back in. And then if Amric is with them, I will pop a lesser restoration into everybody and then take him back to the inn.
Oh no, Amric got set up at a different inn.
Yeah, Emmerich got medevaced.
Amric got dragged out. Actually, he would have gotten dragged to the Trident Trinity, but They didn't know that was going to be where he's staying, so they've just got him another room.
Okay. And Laverne is shit faced and being. Oh, she came home first, didn't she?
Yeah, she came home first
Okay.
and got basically dumped into your arms.
Yeah. I'll give her lesser restoration and then take her upstairs and put her to bed and then punch her in the arm lightly.
She reflex
wait for-
punches back.
Yeah, she does. Probably in the crotch or some bullshit like that. I'll wait for my dad and Hawkus. Is Hawkus staying with them?
No,
Okay.
but he does come back to help because he is in a better state than Vernon is. So he helps
I was
Vernon.
gonna say, if he wants to stay in my room for the night, I mean, instead of, unless he wants me to walk him wherever, since I'm sober.
Oh, he's fine. He's actually going to tell you that there's a certain lady down at the Jackalope that he was having a good conversation with before he needed to bring your father home.
Okay. Okay. Then, oh shit, that's one thing off my list. Only 13 more to go. All right, then I will go back to the inn and go to bed.
Okay. All right. With that, eventually the night shenanigans get taken care of. Everyone gets their sleep. Most of you wake up. And Bryn is hating life.
Especially with the snort she just did off the microphone.
So, the next morning arrives. You guys are all at the Trident Trinity. Morning comes. It's a crisp, cold morning. The weather is starting to get colder and colder as time moves on, especially with your guys' trip up here. It is now heavily into the cooling season, getting closer and closer to the cold season. Also, by the way, at the beginning of the cold season, there's a cold season festival. But
How far away is that?
The what? The festival?
Like, you said that we're well into the cooling season, right?
Yeah, you guys are currently. Do.
Is that the festival that Barrick went to hack his arm off in?
Yep. That was the one where you guys met
Fiona.
General Brazel.
We didn't meet Fiona there, but that was where like
That was the
Barrick
city.
invested. That was where Barrick invested in Fiona or whatever.
You guys are at the end of the first week of Grellum, which is the last month of the cooling season. So in about 3 weeks' time is going to be the start of the cold season. Othrinsar.
Emmerich might actually be awake for that part.
Still fucked up, but awake.
Yeah, because he didn't have anyone to cast Lesser Restoration on him. He just got thrown straight into a bed.
Yep.
I'll
So
ask about that when I get up in the morning to see if anybody's seen him.
asking the group.
No, I'll ask the innkeeper, whoever's in charge.
Oh, giving a description, they would say, yeah, he's in. They threw him into a room.
Richard would have spent as much time as he needed to fuse the hammerhead back to the top of the handle.
You would need an actual blacksmith station to do that.
He would have gone back to the blacksmithing shop and
Vernon's?
yeah.
Okay. All right. With his entire setup, you can make it work. Melt down
That's what
some
I figured.
iron, pour it into the hole, insert the handle, basically weld out the bottom of it, and it's functioning again.
Can I leave something that said Laverne did it inside afterwards?
Unfortunately, you don't have that sentence. You've got Laverne's name, though, because you got introduced.
Nah, I was just teasing about that.
You know, Brent.
I mean, he definitely has that sentence.
But morning at the inn, it's just a different platter of like pastries and fruits. Nothing, nothing super breakfasty, but stuff you can take and eat with you on the go.
So, gang, what's the plan? What do you want to do? Where do you need to go? What are you looking for?
Juan wouldn't know where he needed to go, but he was interested in learning more about circle magic and if there's anything. So
I mean, we can
Hmm,
try
should
the
probably-
academy. The only problem is that you have to put your application in, and then you'll hear about it by noon tomorrow. Which basically means you put it in today and you get in at noon tomorrow. But at least that's something that you can do today to start doing stuff tomorrow. There's another bookshop on the other side of my parents' house, on the other side of the square, but it's not so much magic as much as it's like kind of a small library / bookstore. But I can take you over there if you want.
Polly, you do know that as far as magic stuff goes, at least the last time you checked, if you actually request time in the library, you're not going to find any decent information that isn't in the restricted section.
I figured as much, but I could at least like you could look up songs or stuff that like might help him.
Okay.
I mean, it's not straight up magic. I get it, but
Yeah.
it's knowledge at least,
Mhm.
and that's more than you had before.
Definitely more than
Juan
you
would
had
open
before.
any library is more than he would have before.
Any knowledge.
Juan would openly thank you and would be interested in just looking around, if not finding a new book to replace the one he lost. Would be interesting if he could find it.
What do you mean the book that you lost?
Karen, there's no way you're finding that here.
I know, Nori. It was an interesting book while I was reading it. It was hopefully maybe there's something similar in this library. History may be old, but it is still interesting.
You may look, but don't get your hopes up.
I know I'll never find a book like that again, but we'll see what I find.
Well,
Maybe something
personally,
useful.
I'd like to talk to Hawkus. I have some questions, and I don't know. I kind of want to talk to Mizuga because I have never seen a half-wild shape before, and I lived with an incredibly powerful druid for over 20 years. So I want to know about that.
I mean,
And
yeah,
it's
I
just-
mean,
As you're getting excited and getting louder, Bryn's just gonna like pat your arm.
Sorry.
A hand slowly goes over your mouth.
No, she's not that forward. She's just gonna be like pat your
Focus.
hand or whatever and be like, okay, shh.
Just a sleeper hold then. Got it.
yeah, I can definitely cast sending to Mizoga and see if she can have some time. She's usually
Like, if she's busy, no big deal, any of that. Just if she has free time.
no,
Me too.
so she's usually over at the Common Fawn. It's a nursery. It's actually a few blocks away from here, and she works there during the day, or she used to at least, and it's kind of near her house. We can go over there and look. As far as Hawkus, I mean, I guess he'll be at the walls again. I mean, he shouldn't be too hard to find. He hangs out with my dad probably every night.
Yeah, just when they're free. I don't want to interrupt them while they're working.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to talk to her about druid stuff, you might as well do it in a nursery, right? I can definitely
Exactly.
either give you directions or walk you over there. By the way, speaking of, there's this really cool place on the way called the Green Dryad. It's this really cute little apothecary. You might want to like
Ooh.
pop in there and check it out.
Definitely.
Bryn, are you looking for anything in particular?
Uh, you you talked about your dad making a fancy flask or something like that before,
Yeah, yeah.
but if we're gonna stay tomorrow, I might wait until then.
You want to just take a little bit to rest?
Just going into a blacksmithing shop doesn't sound like the best plan right now.
Yeah. Well, hey, so how about you think about it and think about what you want, and then I can just take in the specs and ask him to do it because I need to talk to him about a couple things too. And I guess Amric's still upstairs asleep. Has anybody seen Racha this morning?
He's right there.
Oh, shit.
Rude.
Because there's a little shop that I'd love to swing him by. He might like it a lot, actually. And it just happens to be on the way to the academy. Kapoor and you might actually find a couple interesting things in this place too.
Hey, Polly, thank you for doing all of this.
Oh, no problem, no problem. I mean, it's easier to like walk around and like drop you guys off and make sure that you know where you're going and stuff, so we don't have to waste time. Because, by the way, we only have 3 weeks to probably get up to Bryn's house and back before it's too hard to do it.
Yes, it's getting cold.
So we need to, kind of get a move on.
And how long is the travel?
It's a week up to the ice sheet, and then past
Then-
that, I don't have too many specifics because we kind of bamped in and out, and it was kind of really confusing at the time. But there is an easier way that I kind of know of. It will definitely, unfortunately, depend on you, because there's this big kind of ice sheet kind of thing, and you'll need to fly us from the bottom to the top. But the last time we did that, we were spotted and guided into where we needed to go anyway. So we got into Lingby. So I doubt that they're going to stop making those rounds. So it shouldn't be too difficult.
All right. I can help with whatever need be. Is it a week on horseback?
Yes, on horseback up to the ice sheet. So we probably have a week to get into Lingby, get out of Lingby, and then get back down here before it gets too cold to... I mean, there's give and take, obviously, but I just don't want to get stuck somewhere.
Yeah, I don't want to get stuck there for the winter.
So, with all that said, I guess I'll cast Send to Masoga really quick and just say, hey, my druid friend would like to speak to you if you have some time. I know that you hang out at the Common Fawn sometimes during the day. Is any time good, or is there a special time?
After a bit of a pause, Mazoga reaches out. No, I shall be here all morning.
That's all she says? Okay.
Yep.
It looks like Mazoga's going to be there all morning, so we can run down there real quick, and then, I mean, Bryn, obviously you're not feeling well, but hanging out there might do you some good. It's a really nice place, and it's quiet. Mozoga likes to keep things, on the DL when it comes to that kind of stuff. And then, Kaporn, if you want to get like a little nap in, I can come back after I drop them off and pick you up with Rachar and go to the academy. If you guys want to do that.
Go with Nori.
Absolutely. Okay.
And then Rachel will actually, seeing Bryn in the shape she's in, put the coffee bean in front of her and just sort of be like, pick me up.
I feel like Bryn would be suspicious of anything you put in front of her, but she wouldn't know what to do with it at this point.
It's
I
not
know
the
this little
little
bean?
it's not the little drug pill.
I mean, honestly,
I
I'd
thought
say
this
suck
had-
on it. Just don't bite it, because it'll break your teeth.
Would I know this little bean? Okay.
Commune with nature with the bean. Talk to me, bean. Talk to me.
Teach
Tell
me your
me your
Who
ways.
are you and what do you do?
I mean, I'm not
threw a
hiding
fifth
it.
level spell to commune with nature.
How do you like it? Tell me your ways.
It's not like I'm hiding it. Polly would be seeing me hand it over, and he's the one that gave it to me.
What is it, Rachel?
It's our world's equivalent of coffee.
Hearing that in Polly's voice, she's gonna look over at him. What is it, Polly?
They're called Criollo beans.
There's a piece nearby.
Nori looks around.
It's it's kind of supposed to be our world's equivalent of coffee, except that it's different. It's not the same, but you boil it and you drink it. We tried to open one last night and it didn't go well. So boiling would
Starbucks.
probably be the problem.
So, I mean, do we have a tea kettle or anything like that?
You can
They have one here
you can
somewhere.
request one, yeah.
And just have it boiled for 20 minutes.
Sure, I guess we'll
Not
do
just
that.
one bean, but
Okay.
like a handful of beans.
You go up to the
One bean isn't
concierge.
too much.
Do you have a teapot holding one little bean?
Do you have any more, Polly, then? Or no?
Yeah, I have a half pound of them. I've been carrying them around for my previous party. I found them in Fuelablat, and they said they, it's a little pick me up, I guess. But I never really got a chance to use it.
I feel like a porn should be carrying around a teapot just for the inevitable.
Yeah, there's so many issues with tea for Bryn at this point.
It's just I don't trust it. I don't. Yeah, but Nori instantly goes so on edge, just like okay.
But Bryn will try a cup of whatever it is once it's ready.
Nori, you all right?
It's not tea, Nori. You can calm down.
There's a piece nearby, and it scared me because I didn't sense Hawkeson's.
Oh. I suggest you stay here for now, then.
Yeah,
Do you still sense it?
I just get a little alert, and then it goes away.
Well, there is that professor that I kind of mentioned a couple cities ago. I don't know if yeah. Maybe we should go see Hawkes first.
Sure.
Well, and if their piece is larger than yours, Nori, they definitely probably got a ping as well, I guess.
Yeah, he definitely would have gotten it before me.
Okay. Well, okay. So we get, I guess, Criollo. I want to try it too. I've never had it.
Okay. You guys are asking for a little steeping coffee pot. Put it together. Okay. Easy enough
Little
to do.
French press.
Yeah. none of you guys have really dealt with these beans, or, I mean, Polly's probably seen coffee made before, but as far as the rest of you guys go, like, it's all sort of a process. Interestingly enough, the beans themselves don't. So when they get heated up and steeped and pressed, the beans don't change shape, but the skin of the bean sort of like flakes off. So at first it's like this really dark brown, and then when it's heated up in water and pressed through, the skin comes off the bean, and it's actually a white bean underneath. And the skin obfuscates the coloring of the water and makes it all like a very dark, muddy brown. But the beans stay pretty much intact, and even trying to like over push the plunger, it starts to dent the plunger and deform it as you try to squish the beans, and you're like, okay, guess that, nope, that's as far as it goes. Okay. But nevertheless, pour out a couple cups. What, for Polly and Bryn? Or are we doing everybody?
Kaporan, do you want some?
We'll gladly take some.
I figured it was just a good
Cha?
potential hangover thing. Rachad doesn't want any.
No, you're good?
Warren pulls out his mimosa glasses. I keep pouring here.
Nori took the hangover remedy of adrenaline.
That's what she's on right now.
Okay. So you guys pour. It does feel good. It does give you a sort of enlightened endorphin rush that does wake you up and kind of soften the edges of whatever brain pain that you're incurred from. I think Kaporan died there for a second.
I fell off my chair.
Kaporan took a drink and just immediately he's like, damn, that's some good coffee. But yeah, you feel good. It picks you up. It gives you a nice little refreshing jolt of energy and euphoria.
Can I take the white beans out and put them away?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. I'll save those. Actually, I'll just hand them to Racha. He'll know what to do with them better than I will.
I need to go buy a sling.
Easy enough to do.
Porn needs to buy a teapot.
If there's any left, I'll ask the innkeeper to send it up to Amric's room, whichever room he's in, to see if he's awake and leave it by the bed.
And she'll nod and walk immediately down the hallway from where you guys are at, 2 doors down, open the door and go inside, leave the coffee on the side of the table, and close and lock the door behind her.
I think the
Thank
better
you.
word is if he's alive.
I mean, she wouldn't have come out without screaming if he was.
Screaming, mildly concerned.
Nodding her head.
I mean, if this is where the Samazels house everyone that they drink with, then she's probably seen a couple corpses.
At least 1 or 2.
She
She's
didn't
mildly
roll her eyes, so I
unsatisfied.
think he's alive. Huh?
She's just mildly unsatisfied that she now has to clean something up.
Why do they always shit themselves when they die? But yeah, okay. So where you guys going?
Are we going south first to Hawkus?
Yeah, I'd rather be around a man who has a trench piece that I can trust. Although he's terrifying. I don't know. He's a terrifying that I know that won't try to murder me instantly.
I get that. Well, let's go head down there. Kaparn, do you want to wait here? Or do you want to come with us?
If you just point me in the way of the other library, I'll go check that one out while you guys are busy.
Sure. And as we walk out, I'll be like, I keep forgetting the map that I have. Is it north, south, east, west like normal, or is it switched?
No, that's right.
Okay. So go 2 blocks north and then make a right. And on the opposite corner, this place is called the Eye of the Newt.
You see Corn writing it down these directions just so you make sure he doesn't get lost. It's like, alrighty.
Yep. 2 blocks up, 1 block to the right, Eye of the Newt. I'll meet you there in a bit.
All right, I'll see you there. And off Caporn goes.
Off to the library. Got it. So the rest of you guys are going to Hawkus? Okay. So you guys start heading down to the southern wall, to where he most likely is, as an interesting conglomeration of noises and sounds are coming from that general direction as well. Mixed sounds of explosions and gunfire, so you're like, well, no one's running and screaming around in town, so I'm guessing the training has started for the day. So it's probably a solid place to go. Kaporin, you taking the advice and directions of Polly, start heading towards the Eye of the Newt, going northward. And it's... when you get to the first intersection, you're like, okay, I just got to continue moving forward, and you start to move forward. You hear, well, at least you can follow directions. As you continue walking forward and look off to your left, and standing and walking beside you, hands in pocket, sort of a luminescent but slightly opaque form, Luke is walking next to you and kind of just looking over at you and giving you a smile as you guys are starting to walk forward. About time you reached out.
Well, I would have called earlier if I knew how to.
Well, now at least we can chat. And that's where we're in tonight's session.
Yay!
I was going to point out the Green Dryad and the nursery on our way, by the way.
Easy enough to do. You know,
That was wild.
you're not quite that exhausted, Amric.
I was gonna say, is he dead? He's one away from death, really?
He's just unconscious, and it's going to take you like 12 to 13 hours to wake up. Because they dumped your body here at like 2 a.m.
Kind of reeks and smells, and
Oh, it definitely does. He did not finish throwing up by the time he got put in here. All right. So any questions, guys?
nope.
Oh, I would like to ask Polly to make me some chain bean armor, please and thank you.
Better than adamantine.
I'll actually hit up some of the shops and see if I can find more. If this is, well, I mean, it worked for us. I mean, it was like coffee for us. So if I can get more to take with us, that'd be great.
It's probably gonna have the coffee drawbacks though, and around 2 p.m. y'all are gonna crash again.
That's when we start drinking anyway, so it's no big deal.
So all you guys are going to have to use the restroom at the same time. Oh, sorry, morning poop coming. All right. So, if you guys have any questions, feel free to message me and I'll get back to them as soon as I can. Kaporin, me and you are going to have a mini session this week.
Ooh, fun.
And beyond that, I think we're good to go. So, if you guys have any questions, feel free to message me and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. You guys have a great week, and we shall be back on Thursday. Well, at least most of us.
Yep. See you one day.
Amrick's just passed out.
Good luck with all that, man.
Yeah. Good luck with all the travel and stuff. Yeah.
Seriously, though.
Well, I still don't even know where I'm staying. It's gonna be a journey.
Oh, it's gonna be fun.
know.
Motel 6. Alrighty, guys. Have a great night.
Right.
Night, everybody.
Night, y'all.
Thank you all for those that stayed with us. Have a great night. We'll see you Thursday. Stay safe.